I think Kamala Harris literally has, I think she's better than Biden. I think Kamala Harris doesn't have the same, like, I mean, look, she has bad political instincts. She has no charisma whatsoever. And she's hemorrhaged. President Biden holding a rally in Michigan yesterday. This is now officially the month of Biden telling everybody that he is alive.
And President Biden hitting the campaign trail, telling voters he is in the race to win it. ABC's Mary Alice Parks joins us now. Mary Alice, it's been a big week. What's the latest with this?
Yeah, Rhiannon, good morning. The president overnight was more energetic in Michigan. He enjoyed a warm reception.
I hear he's staying in until after the RNC. That's what I think too. If there was actually some unity and the Democratic Party was actually secretly playing it smart,
supporters telling him that they had his back. But we know other Democrats, including many running for office themselves, are still worried about whether Biden will ever be able to put these questions about his age behind him. President Biden overnight sounding more energized on the campaign trail in Michigan, boosted by supporters.
I've got your back.
Addressing the political turmoil in his own party and speculation about whether he could bow out of the race, the president insisting he isn't going anywhere.
I am running, and we're going to win. Party, the only Democrat or Republican who has beaten Donald Trump ever, and I'm going to beat him again.
Working overtime to try to turn the conversation to his opponent, saying it's time to stop treating politics like reality TV, listing Trump's criminal convictions and
Damn, he's starting to look hot, dude. Look at him. He's got that Ozempic going for him, dude. It's unstoppable. 15% body fat Trump is a demon that you are not ready for, chat. I'm telling you, dude.
Attempt to overthrow the 2020 election results.
Do you really want to go back to the chaos of Donald Trump as president?
And Biden laying out what he wants to do in the first 100 days of a second term, restore a national right to abortion and medical debt and raise the federal minimum wage. But anxiety among Democrats only growing. 20 congressional Democrats now saying Biden should step aside.
We must prevail against the incalculable threat Donald Trump poses to the American institutions of freedom and democracy.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries meeting privately with President Biden, telling his colleagues after that he directly expressed the full breadth of insight, heartfelt perspectives, and conclusions about the path forward that he heard from his members. His statement not mentioning whether he encouraged the president to stay in the race. Around the country, Democratic voters telling us, some more excited than others, that they are sticking with their party.
I'm going to vote for the Democratic Party, not necessarily Joe Biden.
Everybody keeps accentuating his...
Why do you think Bernie decided to do this for Biden? Fucking, I don't know, because he's old and likes Biden. He did this in 2019. He did this in 2020. I hated... This was one of the things that I despised about Bernie. As much as I love Bernie, and I will always love Bernie, like he literally, I don't know if you remember, but in 2020, he was so fucking soft on Biden, and I kept screaming about how he needs to like hit him, how he needs to hit him harder. Why do you even love Bernie? I mean, he is responsible for, I would say he's responsible for a new wave of an entire generation of people, in my opinion, waking up to the realities of the duopoly and also legitimately restarting a tide of people openly and no longer fearing to claim that they're socialist. Like, he was an inspiring figure that I think was pivotal in the lives of many people in my generation. And that is unchangeable, I think. That's just his legacy no matter what. I love Bernie too, but I think Occupy Wall Street was a bigger deal for that. It absolutely was not a bigger deal for that. You're crazy, I think. I think that you're just showing your age in the chat. Like, Occupy Wall Street is kind of clowned on at the time. No, Bernie Sanders, not even on his own, by the way. Bernie Sanders running against Hillary Clinton was a massive deal because that juxtaposition in and of itself was the radicalizing factor for so many people. But he's always been soft. He's always been super fucking soft. Every time I join your live, I have no clue what you're talking about, lol. We're talking about Bernard Sanders, the movement. All I can see that President Biden is reelected. Why? Despite my disagreements with him, he's been one of the most effective presidents in modern history in our country, and there's the strongest candidate to defeat Donald Trump, a demagogue and a pathological liar. No, I don't think he's the strongest candidate to defeat Donald Trump. That's what I disagree with him on. Like, you don't have to go this far, especially at a time when he's literally a genocide dare too. The weird thing with Bernie is I understand why AOC is supporting Biden, but I don't understand the political calculus with Bernie doing it. I think it's honest. I think it's genuine. He just really likes Biden. He really likes old people. He's old. I think that's probably what it is. I don't fucking know. I don't even care to theorize on it.
Nothing's changed for me. I support Biden. His record is great.
His braless wife.
Now, the president has been working the phones, talking.
Bro, what is ABC's like Vaseline on the lens ass fucking coverage, dude? Why does this look like a TV show? Why does this look like a TV show from the 90s? Like, am I crazy? Why does this look like that? Cameraman has Funyuns on his lap. Yeah, it's just like over sharpened. Yeah.
Talking to Democratic lawmakers. One of those calls was with members of the Hispanic caucus. Sources telling me that Congressman Mike Levin said directly to Biden that he should drop out of the race, and that others were really frustrated that they couldn't get their questions straight to the president.
Yeah, these questions keep on coming. Mary Alice, thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
We are going to start this.
Dude, what? They went back to back with this awful ass camera. It's getting worse. Am I crazy? Or is this genuinely getting worse? It's like so sharp. It's overexposed. It's got like this weird pinkish hue to it.
Half hour here with a closer look at President Biden under pressure from those who say that he should abandon his run for president. Joining us here are ABC White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks,
okay, they
and
fixed that
NPR
one.
White House correspondent and ABC News contributor Asma Khalid. Welcome to you both. Good morning. Okay, so Mary Alice, let's start with you because you cover the White House.
Okay, the wide is so busted. The wide is so busted. Bro's a video pervert now. I mean, look, I don't personally care all that much. I do, however, I mean, I am a fucking content creator. This is what I do to a certain degree professionally. It is kind of funny that like a multi-million-dollar production such as this one would just be so bad. I don't know. That's it.
Every day, the president doesn't seem to be making any big changes.
No, there's no big change in strategy. In fact, his team has insisted that they are staying the course. They say that they still think he can win if they get him out there more, if they work closely with organizers. But I can tell you that is an answer that has been wholly unsatisfying to a lot of these members who are running themselves in tight races. And they say that voters just already think the damage has been done, that they think he is too old. It's also been interesting to me to listen to even staff at the president's campaign who are worried that that top brass is in denial about how bad the political situation really is. You know, one source who works with the party described it to me. He said he thought it was a campaign that is paralyzed. He said that these members of Congress are not dumb. If they're waiting for numbers, they're waiting for data. And if the Biden campaign had good data about how they were still going to pull this off, they would show it. And so far, they have not showed it to those members of Congress. And that is why you've seen more and more defections.
So, Asma, let's get your impressions of this news conference that Biden did the other night. Did it do enough or anything really to ease those concerns?
Yeah, I don't think it fundamentally changed the status quo. If you look at President Biden and his team, they feel re-energized. He got a sort of boost of optimism. You saw him give that fiery speech in Michigan yesterday. On the other hand, though, I don't think it actually alleviated any of the Democratic angst in the party. You saw additional defections from lawmakers, members of Congress. And so, you know, the Democratic Party as a whole, I would say, is in this very awkward state of limbo at this moment where all this fixation is on Biden, though the party, certainly some Democratic voters and lawmakers, want the preoccupation and the fixation to be on Donald Trump and his campaign. But right now, it's all on Biden.
And Mary Alice, you mentioned the numbers, and the president himself has said the only way he would even consider stepping aside is if the polls showed he had no chance of winning. What do the latest numbers show?
Yeah, the Biden campaign is pointing to polls like ours that show that since the debate, the numbers in that head-to-head matchup between Biden and Trump have not really moved, still within the margin of error, a virtual tie. But I think it's important to remember that we don't elect presidents with just one national vote, right? Through the Electoral College process, it's those battleground states that matter so much. And that's where we've heard Democrats Democratic operatives really worry. They are concerned about the polling that they are seeing in places like Wisconsin. They are saying that some of these even more traditionally sort of safer blue states, like Minnesota and Virginia, they are worried since the debate could now be more vulnerable and in play. And there is some clues, I think, some moments where we see that kind of anxiety we're hearing from Democrats, even in our own polls, when you get at the questions about excitement. In our own poll, we saw that only about a third of Biden's supporters said they strongly support him. Others sort of reluctantly so. And that's where Democrats are really worried that even some of his own supporters might just feel like they can't be bothered to vote.
And that worry, Osma, has a lot of people talking about Vice President Harris. You've interviewed her several times. It seems like all eyes are on her right now.
That's right. And that's in particular because some lawmakers, when they have suggested that they want Joe Biden to drop out, they will cite Kamala Harris, his vice president, as the potential candidate in waiting here. Look, I think the Vice President Harris has evolved in the role. There's no doubt about that. I've seen that myself, even in interviews I've done with her. She sort of struggled to find her footing. But I think after the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe versus Wade, she really came into her own. She's been the main messenger on abortion and reproductive rights. But she is in this very awkward position as well right now, where she's been out on the campaign trail.
She's the worst possible choice. Y'all are fucking high. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Kamala Harris is like a worse choice than Biden. I think Kamala Harris literally has, I think she's better than Biden. I think Kamala Harris doesn't have the same, look, she has bad political instincts. She has no charisma whatsoever. And she's hemorrhaged support internally from her own staffers. A lot of people around her have quit, partially as a consequence of the things that I just mentioned, the first two things. Okay? But having said that, she's basically a non-entity with relative name recognition. And right now, the ticket needs somebody, one, that is younger, so she has that. The ticket needs somebody who is inoffensive, somebody that can get the conversation back to policy differences, somebody that can show that the Democratic Party actually is the adult party, right? She's not my first choice, but having said that, from the way I see this race, she is the generic Democrat, right? Do you think she could debate? We saw her debate. She wasn't great. She's nothing to write home about. But ultimately, she's a cop. She's a cop, though. Yeah, guys, we're talking about the Democratic Party. The guy that she's replacing literally wrote the crime bill and eulogized the segregationists. Okay. What do you mean? Yeah, they're all fucking cops to a certain degree, okay? Biden ran on funding the police, chat. What are we talking about? This is completely outside of our understanding, I would say. Two words, Doug Burgum. The Bergmentum is actually very real, and I would be very scared that Trump might actually do the right thing and put Doug Burgum up on that ticket. That's all I'm saying.
Trying to refocus the campaign on Donald Trump while also being one of the few people.
Edgar Mentum pointed out that Trump's biggest weaknesses are being old and nuts, and Biden is seen as worse than Trump. Kamala has none of that. Yeah, I think we get lost in our own little echo chamber sometimes, and this is one of those moments. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Megaphonics' take kind of actually snapped a light in my brain a little bit. Yeah, she has no charisma. She's weird, but I think that she probably is appealing to Midwestern moms. Her moments where she looks barred out, her moments where she's coming across as kind of barred out, they probably don't read in the same way that it reads to people like us. You know what I mean? Midwestern moms are not going to look at Kamala Harris in the same way that we do. They're going to see themselves in her. That's number one. And number two, she immediately destroys the age argument, right? Her weaknesses in an otherwise misogynistic white supremacist country is misogynoir, obviously, right? But beyond that, it's just she does not have the same issues, and basically she does not have the same issues that immediately neutralize the Biden is too old and the Democratic Party looks kind of crazy for running him feelings that might be off-putting to a lot of independents right now. Her lack of complete name recognition, you know, even though obviously she's the vice president, so she has a lot of she has name recognition, but she's never been in the forefront. I think that also gives opportunity to recreate a message, recreate a narrative around Kamala. It is entirely dependent on having a good team around her, which she currently does not have. So she just has less baggage ultimately. And then the conversation can turn back to like Project 2025, abortion, Donald Trump's chaos, if he comes back into power, things like that. As long as the economy continues to recover, and I know a lot of people are going to say you're fucking wrong, and of course a lot more people were saying that, like, I see the economy potentially rebounding by the time the election comes around, and I've been saying this for a year, and people would yell at me and they'd be like, whoa, what the fuck are you talking about? But like, it is happening. So I think that as long as that continues, as long as you move further and further away from the negative real wage growth that a lot of people experienced under the first 2 years of the Biden administration, I think that, you know, putting a generic Democrat on the top of that ticket is the best possible thing you could do instead of having someone like Joe Biden. Problem is, time is running out, so that's definitely the worst aspect of this. How they make this change is the most significant point, okay? How they make this change, if this change is done in a swift and efficient way, then it's like, then, you know, you can recenter the message around like this new ticket and also Biden's legacy. And maybe even actually on the tail end, maybe even actually talk about how, like, for Michigan votes that do matter a lot, talk about Gaza and how Kamala Harris's opinion on the matter is like definitely different than Biden's, like how she's openly outflanked Biden on that issue. We'll see. I think putting a black woman on the top of that ticket also will cause Republicans to go back to the classic, like, racist, misogynistic takes that they have. And I personally think that might come across as off-putting and reaffirm or like repeat the same chaotic feelings that a lot of moderates and independents have. It would be off-putting for more people to hear the Republicans consistently call her like the N-word. So I think that ultimately, Kamala Harris is not as bad as you would think she is, especially because she is relatively inoffensive.
People who can really be a key validator of Biden in this moment. Telling people, I see him in the Oval Office, she says, I see what he's been able to be like. And that's what she's trying to do. You know, at the same time, the Trump campaign Republicans have taken wasted no time in trying to focus on her. You heard Donald Trump just this week talking about her, giving her a nickname, calling her Laughing Kamala, mispronouncing her name. And I can anticipate you're going to probably see more of that.
Asma, Mary Alice, thank you both so much.
They're about to open their convention in Milwaukee, where Donald Trump is expected to.
Jesse Waters having a nervous breakdown. Jesse Waters has some interesting analysis on the crisis in the Democratic Party. The nominee used to be selected at convention.
Go out tonight and say I'm tied in the latest ABC News poll. What are you guys talking about? Reagan was down. JFK was down. Mm-hmm. These people came back and won. I've come back and won. The red wave.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, they want Biden in so bad. Dude, bro, it's like, come on. It'd be real silly if you just dropped out now. I mean, come on, Joe.
Never happened. I would just throw that right in their face, and then I would stop criticizing Democrats, because that's what the Democrats are getting mad at, is Joe's just criticizing them. And he needs to make this about Trump again. He said, I beat him once, I'm going to beat him again. And we're running to restore democracy, and you guys want to rip away millions of people who voted for me. Mm-hmm. You can't just change the rules in the middle of an election and just say, oh, you know what?
Bro, what? Yeah. Yo, dude, that is hilarious. Come on, brother. Oh my God. This is incredible. It's so fun. Dude, this is, okay. I've seen enough. I'm pulling a Dave Wasserman. I've seen enough. This is perhaps the greatest reason as to why Biden needs to go tomorrow. Okay? Yesterday. Toronto. Dude, Jesse Waters sounding like one of these weird K-hivers on Twitter right now, talking about how Biden needs to stay in the race. Damn near on the verge of tears. This is incredible stuff, chat. He won the primary. It's against the rules. Don't change it.
My candidate's probably going to lose. The polls are bad. Let's just rip them off the ticket. When has that ever happened before? It's never happened before in the history of this country when just because a candidate is down in the polls right before the convention, he's gone. They're not ripping him off this ticket because of his mental state. They're ripping him off because they think he's going to lose. The Democrats can't lose one election? It's one election, Richard. And Trump's only going to get in for 4 more years, and then you guys will get back with Gavin. Everybody knows. So it's like lose an election. Like you're just going to just throw this democracy up in the air and just shoot it with a cannon?
Yo, this is the method. This is the momentum. This is the way, baby. Why did he just deliver such a perfectly gift-wrapped gift?
That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Why did he do that? He didn't even try to attempt to hide it. He did that because he supports the black community who stands with Biden. Oh yeah, when I think about it, like who is like definitely pro-black people across the board, I'm thinking of Jesse motherfucking Waters. RNC speaker, let's just drop. Vivek, Ben Carson, JD Vance, Carrie Lake, Nancy Mace, MTG, Peter Navarro. That's interesting. Why is JD Vance the only one on that list that is actually on the VP list? This'll be epic. JD Vance is not going to be VP. He has a beard. Who the hell is Laura Trump? Trump's daughter-in-law. Sean O'Brien, worst day to be a Boston frog. Yeah. Oh, Amber Rose is going to speak too, which I think is cool. Kind of fucked up that they won't let me go to the RNC, but Amber Rose is allowed. Like, what are we doing here?